Ahoy, mateys! Wonderhussy here, dressed up like a sailor because I'm at the sea. That's right, I'm standing on a bluff overlooking the mighty Pacific Ocean on the beautiful central coast of California. Kind of near the town of San Luis Obispo, aka SLO. That's right, I guess people call San Luis Obispo SLO for short, SLO, San Luis Obispo. And in fact, this whole area of the coast is sort of known as SLO-Cal. Okay, you know there's NorCal, Northern California, and SoCal, Southern California. Well, some people call this part of the coast SLO-Cal, and not just because SLO, San Luis Obispo, is the biggest town down here, but also because I think it's sort of a slower paced, relaxed lifestyle than the hustle and bustle of the San Francisco Bay Area up north, or even worse, the Los Angeles metropolitan cancer, just a little bit to the south. That's right, it's so peaceful here today that it's hard to believe we're probably only about 100 miles or so north of LA, and all that craziness is just right down that way. Anyway, SLO-Cal has always been one of my all-time favorite parts of the state because I do like the kind of laid-back vibe. I love the beaches, and in particular, I love this one beach that I'm at today. Okay, I'm wearing this stripy nautical-themed shirt in honor of my being at the coast, but with any luck, I won't be wearing this shirt for long because the beach I'm about to go to is a nude beach. Imagine that. All those billion-dollar homes sitting on the cliff up there, and the rich folks who live in them have to look out their window and see a bunch of naked sunbathers. Neener, neener. Anyway, this is actually one of my favorite nude beaches. I think this might be the first nude beach I ever went to. I don't remember who told me about it, but I've been coming here for at least 10 years. Anytime I happen to be in the SLO-Cal area, I try to make a little detour over here, if only just for an hour or two. It's not that far off Highway 101, so it's really not that far out of the way. And it's a pretty straightforward little trail that leads right down the hill to the beach. Now, today is a Monday, but it's an absolutely beautiful day. I think it's supposed to be a high of 71, not a cloud in the sky. So even though it is a Monday, I think I'd better go into nude beach stalker mode and make sure there's not too many naked people down there for me to film this for YouTube. Crikey, mate. She's a beaut, but there are a few naked sunbathers laying out. Please forgive my terrible Australian accent, but man, I can't believe how many people are here on a Monday afternoon. Don't any of these people have jobs? I mean, believe it or not, this is my job. Spying on naked people like a dirty, degenerate pervert. And wait, there's more. There's also this cave that I wanted to check out up here before I go to the nude beach. Okay, the nude beach is over to the left, but if you take this trail to the right, it supposedly leads to something called Smugglers Cave. Ooh, the Smugglers Cave. Could anything sound more nautical and seaside? I love a good Smugglers Cave, and I've never gone to check this out because every time I come here, I just make a beeline straight for the nude beach. But since I'm here today with some time to spare, and I'm making a video, and it would be a pretty boring video if I went down and sat on a beach for an hour and couldn't film any of the people around me, well, I thought, why not check out this cave, finally, today? And so that is why I'm hiking over here. Oh, I wonder if this is it. Oh, wow, yeah, look, it's not even a cave. It's more like a big rock archway looking right out at the ocean. Pretty cool. This is actually totally the kind of place I can imagine a bunch of sea smugglers hiding out in. You know, like pirates. And incidentally, that's the name of this nude beach. Pirates Cove. Okay, I don't know if that's an actual historical name, but it's the name of the beach and this whole part of the coastline that includes this cave, which it looks like the only pirates that have been in here lately are spray paint pirates, like good old Sick Nasty here. Let's not forget Ozzy Osbourne coming down here to spray paint in Smugglers Cave at Pirates Cove. I'm astonished, but not nearly as astonished as I would be if I went down to the nude beach and Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne were hanging out down there. Anyway, that's probably the last thing anybody watching this video wants to see is Ozzy Osbourne naked. But anyway, I just thought I should come check out this Smuggler's Cave since I'd never done so before. Well, apparently there's not a whole lot to it. It's just an archway covered in all kinds of graffiti. Apparently people have been coming up here for years, and people probably used to camp out here back in the good old days before the state of California cracked down on overnight parking or camping just about everywhere. I mean, I've been trying to stick to the coast all summer because it's so freaking unbearably hot everywhere else in the western US. And so my original plan was to go to Idaho and eastern Oregon and explore all these funky ghost towns out in the middle of these beautiful eastern Oregon deserts. But unfortunately, well, the weather put the kibosh on those plans. So I've been trying to hug the coastline, and it's really tough because, like I said, the state of California is really stingy about letting people camp on the beaches, especially for free. I mean, yes, there are beach campgrounds as part of the California State Park system, but gosh, to get a campsite at a beach campground, first of all, it's like a minimum of $35. Often it's more like $55. And second, thirdly, you have to book it like a year in advance, man. These things book up fast. So it's almost impossible to camp on the California coast. That being said, I have managed to do a bit of it myself. I spent several days way up north on the Lost Coast, which is cold and foggy and definitely not the kind of beach you want to lay around naked, but I found a place where I could camp for free up there, and then another place where it was only like $7.50 a night, which I felt was reasonable. Anyway, I was saying or thinking that I'll bet you anything people used to camp in this Smuggler's Cave back in the day. And as a matter of fact, all up on the bluff along here on top of this cave, there's all kinds of little campsites that it looks like people used to camp at back in the good old days, you know, like the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, probably even 1980s. I don't know. There's a lot of people watching this channel who were alive and well during those times. And you tell me, wasn't it a lot easier to camp on the coast or just about anywhere back in those days? Anyway, I kind of feel like I missed the boat with that because it would be super fun to be hunkered in this cave, a big old driftwood fire blazing like right here in the opening with this amazing, beautiful view of the Pacific Ocean. You know, with a group of friends, everybody sitting around the fire, passing a joint, drinking some wine, singing some songs. The good old days. Well, since we can't do that anymore, I'm just here for the day. I actually just came to this beach to hang out for a few hours, and then I am gonna have to find a place to camp. But all that isn't happening until much later tonight. For right now, let's just go hang out on this amazing nude beach just below these crazy multi-million-dollar homes. I mean, I can't imagine how much money you have to live in a spread like that. Like, look at all those windows. I mean, yeah, I suppose if I zoom back out, it looks like erosion might get them any second, you know? One good storm and that cliff goes melting away. And next thing you know, it's bye-bye Babs. Actually, Barbara Streisand does, I think, live in a cliffside house like this, but not here. She lives farther south, I think in Montecito. So, I don't know, maybe that's just Mariah Carey or some lesser diva, but golly, any one of those houses would be an amazing place to live until the mudslide. I guess that's California for you. If the earthquakes don't get you, then the wildfires and the mudslides will. Oh, it's a good thing I can't afford to buy a house here anyway. Okay, let's follow this trail back to the junction, and this time we'll take the left-hand turn down to the nude beach. Okay, I remembered there being a sign here that said something official about this being a nude beach. I thought it was right there at the junction. I don't see anything. So maybe the man made them take it down. I personally think that those signs advising people that a beach is clothing optional are a good thing because, well, that way nobody gets surprised, you know? Up at Lake Tahoe, my friend Dennis hangs out at Secret Cove Nude Beach, and they have a huge problem with families and boaters coming up there that don't realize it's a nude beach, and then well, then it's just an awkward situation for everybody. So if the state of California took that sign out, well, I think that's kind of stupid. But then I guess that wouldn't be the first time that the state of California and stupid were mentioned in the same sentence. Okay, I guess the way this beach works is up front, the people that are closest to us, nobody there is naked. I guess if you walk farther down the beach, like past those rocks, that's where all the naked people are. So I'll give you 3 guesses as to which side of the beach I'm going to. Yikes, okay. We made it to the beach. Oh, look how happy this dog is playing in the surf. See, I don't think I'm gonna wanna go in this water. I mean, even though we're not on the Lost Coast anymore, this California Pacific is friggin' chilly, man. It's not like the best swimming beaches. Let's dip our toes in the water and see just how cold it really is. Woo! Oh, you know what? Actually, it's not bad at all. I can actually see getting hot enough to go for a dip, maybe in a bit after a ranch water or 2. For now, I'm just gonna walk down the beach past the last clothes people. Oh, I gotta be careful. There's already some naked people in the camera shot. Oh, I'm just gonna walk down that way and find a place to lay out my blanket and get myself situated. That's what's nice about shadow nudies. As far as I know, YouTube doesn't have any policies against shadow nudity. You know what I mean? As far as I know, there's nothing wrong with shadow nipples. It's just the real ones they have a problem with. And even then, it's just the real ones on female bodies they have a problem with. Okay, anyway, I set my blanket up kind of in this little nook. I'm hidden by rocks on this side and rocks on that side, so that way, well, you shouldn't be able to see any other naked people. Although I have to be real careful because there are naked people constantly walking back and forth, and I don't want to get one of them in the background of one of my shots. So I think down at that end of the beach, the far end, there's like a volleyball net. In fact, you can see there's a guy wearing swim trunks, so I guess everyone down there isn't naked. But I feel like that's what one of the regulars told me about this beach once, that all the nude regulars hang out down on that end. And so in the past when I've come here, I usually kind of hang out, well, by myself. I'm kind of a loner. And honestly, when a lone female goes to a nude beach, it definitely feels like there's a lot of thirsty dudes at this beach on a Monday afternoon. Speaking of thirsty, it's time for a ranch water. Cheers. Okay, dang it. This was the hardest beach to shoot a video at, because if some naked dude wasn't walking back and forth behind me and getting in the shot, then the waves were coming up and almost getting my blanket wet. I think the tide is coming in or something. The beach seemed like it was getting smaller and smaller, and the thirsty dudes were getting thirstier and thirstier. And well, there's no sense in complaining about it. We have to share the beach with everyone, and it was beautiful, and it was warm enough to go for a dip. So I guess that's pretty much all you can ask for in a beautiful California nude beach. Anyway, I was being a little disingenuous when I said I need to find a place to camp tonight, because I already did the research and I already found a place to camp tonight. Okay, you know how I was talking earlier about how it's so hard to find anywhere to camp on the beach in California that's not $35, $55, even more dollars a night. Well, I managed to find a spot that was only $10 a night on the beach, okay, on the sand itself, which is very rare for the state of California. Normally they don't let you drive on the beach because, well, California's got a lot of environmentalists and a lot of environmental regulations. But California also has a lot of off-highway vehicle enthusiasts, and they want a place to drive their toys around on the beach. Okay, off-highway vehicle enthusiasts are basically what you would call off-roaders, but it's not off-roading like you would do in an overlanding rig, camping and exploring the backcountry. Off-highway vehicles are basically high-powered toys, like quads, side-by-sides, and dune buggies that aren't street legal and have to be trailered out to areas where it is legal to drive them around. Now, usually these areas are inland, blighted pockets of the Mojave Desert where no one cares if 10,000 ATVs tear up the ground. But tax-paying off-highway vehicle enthusiasts formed a coalition or something and somehow managed to secure a section of prime Central California coastline where it's legal to tow your toys right out onto the beach, camp in your RV, and drive around as much as you want. It's called the Oceano Dunes State Vehicular Recreation Area, and it didn't sound like the most peaceful place in the world to camp, but it's one of the only remaining places in California where you can car camp directly on the beach, and it's only $10 a night, so I figured I'd give it a try. After paying your entrance fee at the kiosk, you drive along the beach until you cross Arroyo Grande Creek. And then you can pretty much camp anywhere you like. Or, more precisely, anywhere you can find a space. Even on a Monday, it was pretty crowded. And I didn't like the idea of being wedged in between all these RVs and toy haulers with their generators running all night. So I figured I'd just drive all the way to the very end, and surely I'd be able to find a tiny little nook where I could have some privacy and a little peace and quiet. I can't believe I'm camping right on the beach in California, and it's so peaceful. We got these beautiful low rolling dunes, this picturesque wooden slat fence. Okay, I was totally kidding when I said it was peaceful. I'm actually camped in the middle of a bunch of freaking off-roaders, and they're all razzing around, making an ungodly racket. But, you know, it was a nice fantasy while it lasted. You know, I was sitting here trying to drink a ranch water and watch the sunset over the ocean, but, well, it's kind of hard to have contemplative thoughts with all this. Well, you know what they say. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. I don't know, in my imagination, I kind of thought, oh well, when I get up there, I'll book it on a Monday, there won't be that many people there, I'll drive all the way to the end, to the farthest corner, surely I can find a peaceful nook. And well, it kind of looks like I did find a peaceful nook from that direction, but oh brother, it's anything but a peaceful nook. And I did drive all the way to the very bitter end. That's what this picturesque wood slat fence is. You can't go any farther than this on the beach. I guess they have it closed off for some kind of environmental restoration or something. So everyone's all squeezed in, nice and cozy together right here. Anyway, at least I didn't have to worry about my rig getting stuck in the sand. I didn't even air down, and I was able to get out of here just fine. I put my traction boards down just to level myself out because, well, this dune field is kind of at a slant, especially way back here. I was trying to get away from everybody else. You know how I am. I've got a little tinge of the Sasquatch in me. And frankly, it just doesn't look like a whole lot of fun to be jammed in over there with everyone else. So anyway, I had to level myself out a bit, but it was no problem getting back here. And if I were to get stuck, well, there's only about 1,001 friendly neighbors who would surely help me out. You know, that's one thing with these off-roading folks. I think part of the fun for them is getting stuck or breaking down. In fact, there's a classic case in point right here, right behind what I thought was going to be my peaceful little campsite. There's these 3 trucks, and I'm just going to zoom in. And they were razzing around through the dunes, but something apparently happened under the hood. And so they've been hanging out there looking at the engine for probably like the last 20 minutes. And they don't seem altogether unhappy about it. I think these people actually enjoy futzing around with mechanical stuff. And God bless them for it. Okay, let's see. Did they get the truck up and running? Here it is. His buddy's left. Let's see that truck go. Oh, yay. Look at that. There she blows. Driving proudly through the dunes. Flag a-flying. How about that? Don't you just love a happy ending? Anyway, I have some editing to do. I don't know what I was thinking when I decided I would come out here, and I was actually going to stay 2 nights, but last night got all booked up. Anyway, I thought I would just hang out here and do some editing and relax and, you know, have a glass of wine. And I guess I can still do that because, well, I do have earplugs. And I don't know, I don't mean to bag on people who enjoy this lifestyle, but it's just kind of screwy that, you know, here I've been to 2 different beaches today. All I want to do is find a place to park, and I don't even need to drive out onto the sand. I just want a beach I can camp on or near for real cheap. And, well, ideally, I'd like to be able to go naked. So how come there's no beach like this for nudists? I mean, yeah, Pirates Cove is, I think, sort of unofficially a nude beach, but, you know, I'm sure they would still issue you tickets if they, you know, wanted to. I guess nudists just aren't a big enough tax-paying block, you know? When you look at how much money is invested in this stuff, and these folks all pay taxes, presumably, you know, I guess it stands to reason that there would be a beach where you could drive around and make as much noise as you want, but there wouldn't be a beach where you could be naked and camp out as long as you want. So maybe I am just a little bit salty about that. Well, that was interesting. My poor, pathetic little rig, tucked away as far in the back as I could. I mean, like I said last night, I drove as far to the end of the camping area as I could. But look at this. This is a Tuesday morning. Granted, it's summer, but golly, look how many people are camping out here. It was an interesting experience. But I don't think I would camp here again. And I don't think I could recommend camping here. Unless you have a quad or an ATV and you like riding around the sand dunes in endless loops, burning gas, the all-American way. I don't know, man. It was pretty loud last night. Supposedly quiet time started at 10. But I don't think these folk are much for following rules because you're also only supposed to go 15 miles per hour in the camping area. And you're also not supposed to set off fireworks. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I sort of feel like an anthropologist camping among a colony of chimpanzees. Not to say that these people are chimpanzees. I'm just saying I feel totally out of place. I started Googling. I was curious to see what the people who live in the, I guess it's the town of Oceano, right on the other side of these dunes, and ooh, apparently there's a big brouhaha, wouldn't you know it, between the environmentalists and these off-roaders. And the environmentalists claim that all this vehicle traffic is messing with some kind of endangered species habitat, and it goes over some sacred indigenous Native American side, and supposedly they kick up a ton of dust and sand that goes into this town over here, which apparently is like the only affordable blue collar area in this whole region. So it's like these poor Hispanic people have to breathe in all this dust and breathe in all these freaking gas fumes from it never ends here. You know what I mean? These people never stop. This thing is open year round, and it does generate a pretty good chunk of revenue for the county, because you got to pay to license your off-road vehicle, you got to pay to come out here, you got to pay for this, that, and the other. And I think I read that they raised something like, it was many millions of dollars, let's just say that. So I think the county probably tolerates it because they want the money, but the people who live here and the environmentalists are pretty up in arms. And I guess they even tried to shut it down. Well, it did shut down during COVID. Like, everything shut down during COVID. Well, I guess the environmentalists kind of used that as an excuse to keep it shut down. And so there was a big, I think it went all the way to maybe the state Supreme Court. There was a big court battle. And at first, the environmentalists won some kind of partial closure of this area. But there's a big off-roading support group that fought back. And so I'm not sure where things stand now. It kind of looks to me like things are back to business as usual. Although I suppose maybe back in the good old days, you could drive over to that side of the fence too. And actually, speaking of the good old days, I guess back in the real good old days, like the 40s, 50s, there was like a colony of hippies and artists that lived out here in these funky little shacks they built. And it was very lawless. You could drive wherever you wanted. And then, all these fancy rich people move in and start building these houses. And then, well, they need people to work for them. So then those people had to have these crummy houses built in Oceano. And, well, now there's a bunch of people and a bunch of regulations. And you can't drive on the beach anymore unless you pay to do so right here. I guess that's just the way of the world, man. Things change. It goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of this video. When you used to be able to camp anywhere, and now you can't camp at the nude beach. You got to come over here and camp in, oh my God, it feels like camping at the flea market or in a war zone. Okay, maybe not that bad, but you know what I mean. But I guess the fact of the matter is, we all have to share this planet. Everyone enjoys the beach in different ways. Some like gently walking along, looking at endangered species from a safe distance. Some like being naked. And some like driving around in endless circles all day and all night. What do I know, man? I'm just gonna get in my car. It was an interesting experience, but I think it was a one and done for me. I'm gonna get back in my rig and hopefully make it back across that creek before the tide comes up and go check out my next adventure.